Welcome to the Love Mondays podcast, where we explore how to create more purpose, passion, and fulfillment in our work and lives on Monday and every other day. Today's guest is someone who's inspired me since we first met. Jill Nykoliation built an impressive marketing career in the CPG industry, including her time at Kraft Foods. From there, she continued her career journey, experiencing both the highs and lows and challenges that many professionals face, including working in an environment that ultimately wasn't aligned to her values. Rather than settling, Jill made the courageous decision to bet on herself. She co-founded Juniper Park TBWA, one of Canada's most successful advertising agencies, helping build an award-winning organization known for creativity, culture, and impact. Today, Jill has once again reinvented herself. She now serves as an executive coach and faculty in residence with the Modern Elder Academy, helping people navigate life transitions, discover purpose, and answer some of life's biggest questions. She also recently co-facilitated a program with Dr. Arthur Brooks, who is a Harvard professor, happiness researcher, best-selling author, and Oprah collaborator. Jill's journey is a powerful reminder that our careers don't need to follow a straight line. Sometimes the most meaningful chapters begin when we have the courage to listen to our hearts and redefine success on our own terms. Jill, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Ron. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the kind words.
Amazing. That was one of the longest and best intros I've ever read. Okay, so the first question I always ask, and today is Monday. Do you love Mondays? And if so, why or why not?
I do. I haven't always. I did, and then I didn't really, and now I do again. How about that?
I love it. So tell me why.
So I love Mondays because this is where I get to kick into gear. After a couple days of rest and rejuvenation, I get to kick back into gear doing what I absolutely love, which is I coach one-to-one and I coach one-to-many. And helping people step into their alignment and their next most meaningful chapter, it lights me up beyond words. So that's why I love Mondays now.
Amazing. I feel that. And tell me a little bit more about the alignment. I love how you said, hey, finding alignment first.
Yeah. This is a more recent epiphany because for me, in terms of the articulation, and you'll hear me say this a lot, Ron, is I love precision of words. Words have meaning, and we know that, but words really do have meaning. And so if we use them sharply, answers are easier to find. So people usually come to me, as they do for you. They talk to you too, I know, about, I need to find my next purpose. I don't really feel like I'm in my purpose. I once was purposeful and now, and it's this great big mysterious capital P, capital U, capital R purpose. And it feels just daunting and evasive. So two things I say to people is one, purpose doesn't have to be a capital P. It can also be a small P, and you can have several of them. So a purpose portfolio. That's number one. Number two is what I think that I like finding the root of things. And the root is I don't have purpose anymore. The root I've come to see is that I'm out of alignment with who I am. What I'm doing used to light me up. It used to fulfill me. It used to bring me into flow, and I'd lose track of time. I'm aware that something has shifted. What we typically hear is people say, yeah, I don't really feel like I'm in purpose anymore. The first step before that is you've changed. You've changed. And so now what you're doing is out of alignment with where you're going internally. And so that's what I say to people, let's articulate your alignment. And then your next chapter, your next purpose will be much easier to identify.
I love it. I think we're going to go through some of your transitions, I think, which will help us clarify that piece. But before we do that, I'm fascinated by when folks were children, what they love to do, and how does that connect to what they're doing now? So when you were a little girl, what did you love to do?
Well, okay, a few things. One, I wanted to be a flight attendant. I had this book. It was a Barbie book, and she was walking up and down those aisles, and she ran the plane. I saw her as she's the boss of the plane. She was very kind, put together, but she had that business environment going on. That's what I saw as a 5-year-old. So I wanted to be a flight attendant. Then I wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher, and she stopped when the four of us were born, but she kind of ran the house of us kids like a teacher, and she had us all reading by the age of 4, et cetera. And I thought, like, oh, this is really so, my mom made it really fun. And your brain, you could kind of feel your brain expanding and taking us into new worlds. So I remember thinking, I want to be a teacher. And then I went to business school, Queen's University, and I was like, you're allowed to have an elective every semester. And I was taking psychology, and I'm like, oh boy. So my 19-year-old self is like, I should have gone into psychology. This is my, but at the time, like, you can't stop because now this is in motion, which of course I know now I could have. But so yeah, I wanted to be a flight attendant. I wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to be in psychology. That's not where I ended up, but actually it's where I ended up.
Yeah, like if you put those three together, it's pretty fascinating that it's
Yeah.
very aligned to what you're doing right now.
It's actually where I ended up. And so I love that you asked this question, because I'm like, yeah, I took a little bit of a roundabout way to get there, called like a 30-year career in marketing. That's exactly where I ended up.
Yeah, and it's interesting in my book. That's one thing I noticed for a lot of folks who love their Mondays and every other day now is they took this, call it long life journey, which we all have to take, but they somehow ended up back up in that space, which lit them up as a child. Okay, I'd love to just kind of go through your career. So I'd love you to just give us a quick synopsis of maybe your craft career. I'd love you to touch on mentorship with Irene Rosenfeld and maybe just take us through that journey.
Sure. I love that you're one of the few people that know this. I spent my first 11 years at Kraft Foods, and both working in Kraft Canada, but also Kraft North America. And I loved it, but I had 3 different chapters in there. And so I was the marketing side, and, some people loved it, but after a couple of brand assignments, I'm like, oh, wow, I could see the pattern. And I thought, oh, I don't know if working in cereals and then coffee and then cheese, some people go, wow, those are totally different. In my brain, they were more or less the same. And I was like, I can see patterns, and I was getting a little itchy. And I got tapped by a gentleman who was one of the VPs at the time, who was like, I'm going to do something completely else. Because at the time when you and I were there, Kraft spent 3 times as much with the customer as they did the consumer. And what that means for your listeners is that the middleman is the retailer, and Kraft, instead of spending money to the consumer saying, would you like to buy more Miracle Whip, we spent 3 times more with the retailer paying shelving fees, et cetera.
Yes.
And so the challenge was given to us, going, if we only knew their names, if we only knew who bought peanut butter and Kraft Dinner and Miracle Whip and Jell-O, if we could only know their names, we could go straight to them and cut out that very expensive middle that doesn't really add value to the customer anyway. And I was like, oh, I love this. It's never been done before. Sign me up. And there was 3 of us that were tasked. We had to build a database, which of course there is no database that says who eats Kraft Dinner. So we had to create a database, merging 17 different databases together with a 90% accuracy. And then my specific task on that team was, okay, so when we found their names and addresses, what are we going to say? And it's not, do you want more Miracle Whip tonight? Like, that's not what you're going to knock on someone's door. Like it was actually before email. Email came into it, but it was actually literally, we're sending magazines. And it was like, we had to really flip it around to say, it's not, do you want more Miracle Whip, but rather, what's for dinner tonight? Wednesday, 6:30. What's for dinner tonight that will use what you have on hand? And flipping that question to be more consumer centric and go, oh, do you have chicken? Do you have Miracle Whip? Do you have some spices, some Parmesan cheese? We can make you a dinner in 30 minutes and you'll still get to the soccer practice on time. Now, everyone wants that question, but as a marketer of products, that was revolutionary for us at the time.
Yes.
And so I did that. And so one of the things, I loved it because it was A, never been done before, but B, our team got to spend, it was Irene Rosenfeld's big bet. She was going to, at the time, the budget was $100 million, which was enormous in Canada, especially. Our budget was $100 million to build this project. And we got to spend every Friday afternoon with her, just the 3 of us, one-on-one. And I was like, wow.
Yes.
Like, she was on the cover of Forbes, I don't even know how many times. And I get to have a private lesson with her. And the fascinating thing, so I was like, sign me up. She was a marketing genius and admired / almost feared by a lot of people too. And I got to be in that inner circle every Friday afternoon for a few hours. What I loved too was no one else wanted the job. No one wanted the job. I'm like,
Yes.
sign me up. Yeah. So that's how I got to Kraft. Like, and that's how I got in Irene Rosenfeld. And I think it was a couple of years of that. I did that project for 5 years, but with her for 2 before she moved on. It was transformative. And it got me this analogy that I talk about, because a lot of people said, you're crazy. I don't know what you're doing up there. You're off path. You're off path. And the VP of strategy, the EVP, Executive Vice President of Strategy, pulled me aside one day and said, for a smart girl, you make dumb career decisions. You are so off path, Jill. He literally said that to me.
Wild.
Wild, right? Wild. And I was like, oh, you think I'm trying to be the CEO of Kraft? I just know in my bones that's not where I'm heading. I don't know where I'm heading,
Yes.
but that's not where I'm heading. And what was interesting when I did leave Kraft after 11 years, that same EVP said to me, I never understood you. And now that you're going agency side, I think I get it. You have a unique career path that none of us in here have. And only you could jump over to agency side and do it well. I didn't understand you at the time, but I think I do now. Yeah.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing those leaps of faith, or maybe was it a gut? Was it your gut that helped you make that decision when nobody else wanted that role? Only 3 people wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was my gut. And I even say it's bigger. It's like, it's my knowing. It's my knowing. It was like this whole, it wasn't just a feeling down. If you're listening, I'm touching my gut. It was actually a whole like snap together from head, heart, gut. It all just went, I think I'm supposed to do that. I think I'm supposed to go. And then, so when people said you're crazy, one person said, I don't know who you annoyed in here to be punished like this. And I was like, I don't see it this way. I actually
Yes.
begged for this job. And so when you have that inner knowing, I think you can look and go, that's okay. I don't know where I'm going, but I know exactly how to get there. That's a quote. It's a quote from the lion tracker, Boyd Vardy. He's a South African lion tracker. And I love that quote. He talks like, I don't know where the lion is, because his family was fourth generation. He was fourth generation lion tracker, because they have a safari in South Africa. And so, of course, people are coming to see the big 5 animals. And he goes, but we have to know where they are in order to take the Jeep out there. So he and his tracker partner would go out there, and he goes, you'd look at footprints, you'd look at mud on the bushes, and you'd figure out, where are they? And I love that line he says is, I don't know where I'm going, but I know exactly how to get there.
Amazing.
And that's alignment.
I love that. So I have a lot of people come to me, maybe in their 40s, maybe early 50s, and they're kind of at that crossroads where they've changed, like you talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
But where do you start? Like, where do you start finding that alignment? Where do you start finding knowing? I'd love you to just kind of reflect, because you coach people through this. I'd love you to kind of maybe share some ways they find that alignment.
Yeah, great question. And it's not as hard as people think. We're just not ever taught to do this. So whether I coach one-to-one in my private practice or I coach one-to-many in my workshops, I do the same exercise to begin with. Somewhere around after the first hour you work with me, I'll ask you to do an exercise. It's actually Brene Brown's. It's on her website, so it's available to everybody. And it's her North Star value exercise. And what she has is, through her research, I think most people know Brene Brown. And she has an exercise where she takes, I think it's 106 of the values that come up most often in her research of how we're oriented. And there's many versions of this exercise, but hers, it's a robust list. Number 2, she says, is go and circle all the ones that orient you. These are present when you know you're moving towards something, you're making big decisions. These are the values that come up. And most people go, aren't we all kind of have the same values? No, we don't. So you think we do, and maybe in the general sense, be a good person, but we actually don't. And so you'll circle and you'll get, I don't know, like 12 to 15. Great. But just like in advertising, clients would give us like, here's 5 values from my brand. Like, Lululemon has these 5, or Miller Lite beer has these 5. I'm like, we can't fit 5 into a 15-second ad. We can't fit 5 into a billboard. So we'd hone it back to this precision. We'd hone it. Which ones really are them? So same with you. Same with you is you go, okay, take your 15. And I go, so I say to my people now, I want you to cluster them, because they're not 15 disparate.
Yes.
Kind of 15, and you cluster. So you go, I'll work backwards. Mine are wholeheartedness and growth. So under growth, I have curiosity, learning, risk-taking, achievement. Those kind of all cluster together. So I put them in this cluster and I go, oh no, what's the title of this cluster? Wholeheartedness is curiosity, intuition, fairness, grace, love. So that's another bucket. And you might have the same word. Like I had curiosity in both, but that. So I have people who are adventure and integrity. And I'm like, oh, fascinating. Those are in my long list, but they're not my titles. Adventure is not my title. I love growth. Now, even in mine, growth back 10 years ago, growth would have been, oh, maybe even that bucket may have been achievement, accomplishment, or growth would have meant business growth. And now I'm like, oh, I like personal growth for myself and for others. I have an insatiable curiosity for that. So you go, oh, someone go, oh yeah, that's not mine, Jill. My partner, David, his is integrity and fun. He truly orients his day that way. I don't. I have someone else who's accomplishment and home. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's not mine either. So that's why I help people go get it down to 2. And all of a sudden, what I love is I've done this hundreds of times. I have yet to meet someone with the same pair.
Wow.
I find that fascinating and reassuring. And yet we're all walking around going, should I be like you? Should I be like you? Or Ron, what should I do? And you go, well, Jill, here's what I would do. And it's like, but you're going to tell me advice through the lens of your 2, which will be right for you, but wrong for me. So that's the first thing I do. And it skips a whole bunch of steps going, yeah, those aren't mine. And I'll give them a whole bunch of other people's. And they're like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, those are yours. So what if we moved towards those? What decision are you wrestling with? And if you put them through the lens of those 2, what do you see now? And it usually is like, oh, I can move 4 steps towards it. I didn't realize that I was uniquely wired, because I'm looking outside for validation, which is, of course we do that, but it gets us confused. It often helps us stay stuck. Stuck is something I hear a lot. I'm stuck.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. If I put those 2 stories together around, you knew there was something different for you, but many of us just follow the CEO path, or, for me, the CFO path. And I took a very similar course to what you just described with Wayne Stark. You might know the name Suzanne Stark. So Wayne Stark is my coach. And he and 2 other amazing facilitators, Mike and Nick, they took us through this values exercise where at the end of it, I had a light bulb moment. I'm a teacher. And that set me on this whole path. 5 years later, I'm on the path, but it started with values. Yeah. And I believe in it so much. I even had my wife meet with Mike, and she's going through her own journey now, because I love the story. Hey, we're all unique. You've never found 2 people with the same 2, buckets. And so it's like, how do we stop putting these walls around us, stop putting ourselves in these boxes? I'm a finance person, I'm this and that. And you tell some good stories there. So super fascinating.
And it helps people because we look outside going, who's doing it right? And you just go, yeah, you can do that, but who's doing it right for how they're wired? And what would that right look like for how I'm wired?
Yes.
And I think that's a big epiphany, and it invites a massive relief or release. I mean, it's a release of like, let go of the reins of their story. It's not yours, but use it to go when you admire them because you can tell they're in alignment. And maybe when people hear me, they can hear, oh, she loves what she does. Yes, because I am into growth and wholeheartedness. That wasn't who I was. So yes, that's uniquely me, but it also wasn't who I was 10 years ago. I changed. And to update when you know something's a bit off, instead of looking out, the first thing I'd say is look in and say, what's changed about me? Maybe it's my wiring. In that book we both love, From Strength to Strength by Professor Arthur Brooks, that was so helpful for me. Someone handed it to me because I was whispering to someone in my YPO forum, and he was like, Jill, read this book, From Strength to Strength. I think this is what's happening to you. And in that book, he talks about, from a physiology standpoint, in our 40s, somewhere in our 40s, our brain changes, our wiring changes, and therefore what lights us up and what we move towards naturally changes. And you know this book very well too. It's we go from the first curve, which is our it's like an agile intelligence. It's very fluid. It's our fluid intelligence. We can move 1,000,000 miles an hour. We're building, we're creating, some of us are building humans at the same time, building a family. We can throw it on and ideas are coming fast. And then somewhere in our 40s, that changes. You're like, God, there's a lot of work. I've got a lot on my plate. And like,
Yes.
this project again. But what's happening is that part of our brain is slowing down, and it doesn't bring us the thrill. But what we're never told, it was that a new part of our brain is opening up. It's called our crystallized intelligence. And this is a pattern recognizing ability of like, oh, this looks familiar. My younger self would have jumped all over this, but my older self knows I'm not going to take the bait. This will clear itself out if I just give it a beat. Or I could jump in, but you know what? I'm not going to develop my team if I keep leading this way. So I'm going to lead from behind instead of leading from the front, and I'm going to evolve. It's why professors and teachers are better storytellers, because we have this wisdom that we wrap around. We become different types of CEOs. And this book, I was like, oh my God, that's what's happening to me. I'm jumping to a
Yes.
new curve. And so instead of resisting it, going, gosh, I built my whole career on this curve, I got to get it back. I went with it and went, now what if I love the book so much that I was like, what if I explore it and I go with it? And so fulfilling, because I let go of what was ending and I picked up what was becoming. And that's how I got to my next chapter. I think you're
Amazing.
the same. You're the same.
100%. No, I'd love you to go into your next chapter. And, while I love Mondays, you
Yeah.
love Thursdays. So I'd love you to talk about that as you talk about that next chapter.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. You and I laugh about this. I love Thursdays. My last 4 years as a CEO, what I noticed was this wisdom brain was coming awake. And it was the pandemic was hitting. And I instinctively knew at a creative agency, I would need to creativity doesn't come from fear. Creativity doesn't come from isolation. Creativity doesn't come from panic. Creativity does not come from boredom. And so I immediately, through the pandemic, snapped my team together. We're going to be all remote, as we all were for years. We didn't know that at the time. And on Thursdays at 4:30, I called it a huddle. And I brought the team together and said, it's not a business meeting. This is personal growth. And if you would like, first of all, we're all about to be busier than we ever were before, because everyone needs new work instantly. Apple, Nissan, CIBC, Capital Group, the NFL, everyone needs new work now, because if it worked before the pandemic, it is tone deaf and wrong now. But why are some of us frozen? And why are some of us fine? And why are some of us actually expansive? And we're all in the same environment. We're all okay. We're all isolated. We all have jobs. It's a circumstance, but okay, let's talk about inner wiring. So I said every Thursday at 4:30, I will take you through the growth journey that I was on for a decade. And I will teach you how to grow in the stillness. You don't have to come. It's not a business meeting. And I loved it. I would talk about what are the components of resilience. Resilience is a muscle. You can train it. Do we understand that everything is an energetic exchange? Do you know the energy you bring to a room? Are you responsible for that energy that you bring into a room? Notice that sort of thing. I taught them for 2.5 years, for sure, until the pandemic opened up. It became what I noticed in my wisdom brain is, I love Thursdays. I love Thursdays more than anything else. And I love writing a strategy deck like nobody's business, and I'm very good at it. But this all of a sudden was like, oh my gosh, something is awakening in me. And I love Thursdays. And sometimes it'd be Thursday morning, Ron, and like, I don't know what I'm going to say this afternoon, but it always came. It always came. And I got these letters from my staff saying, you're making my marriage, you're helping me make my marriage better. I'm a better dad because of these lessons. And what also happened for the business was because I was leading the person, not just the performer, the person grew and the performer grew with that person. And our business just took off. We did some of our best work in those hardest years, including in those years was the hand signal that saved women's lives. That came out of
Amazing.
those Thursdays because we talked a lot about gratitude and generosity. Who can we be generous to? Who in the world needs us? Women were trapped behind closed doors. Domestic violence was up 300% around the world. I'm like, let's be generous. Pencils down. And we created a hand signal that sadly is used across the world to this day.
Mm,
But those came from Thursdays. And that's why I was like, I think this is the perfect moment to put my career down, because what I love to do is that. And what if I made Thursdays every day? Like, what if I
love it.
took my Thursday afternoons and made that 5 days a week? What would that look like? What would that look like?
Yeah, amazing. I'm going to come back to that, but I want to start with just your hypothesis on, okay, you did all this to help folks kind of get through the pandemic, find their resilience muscles, things like that. But the business took off as well, right? Which was
Mhm.
not your intention at the beginning.
No.
Why is that? Like, can you talk a little bit more about what leads to that? Because I'm a big proponent of people leaders who start with the person, not, hey, let's get into the business meeting. And,
Yeah.
that it's like, take time to get to know the whole person, right?
Yes.
So
And
I'd love
that's
to just get
exactly it. And it was not what the industry was shrinking and we were growing. So it wasn't like we were riding an industry change. It was, we were growing despite industry contraction. So even more impressive. So I agree with you, Ron. Like, when you lead the person, then that's a much more expansive perspective than leading the performer. And so what I did was I made sure that I showed up like a whole person. That's where my wholeheartedness comes in is, and again, vulnerable and personal are not the same thing. But there's times where I'm like, okay, like for example, we'd have a big pitch as we do in advertising all the time. And there was one time where I'm like, guys, because I'm very aware of my inner self. I'm like, I'm off today. I'm off today just a bit. And you maybe can't know, but you're going to know my energy is off. And today I need to be on. And it has nothing to do with any of you. I was actually helping that day. I was helping my daughter finish an essay on the Great Barrier Reef till like 2 a.m. or something. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm tired. And so I'm like, it has nothing to do with any of you, but I'm off. And so we talk about who's on, who's off. And I go, who's got extra today? And one of my managing directors, Liam, goes, Jill, I've got lots today. And so
Amazing.
I can be the energetic lead. You do you, and I'll be the strategic lead. But energetically, I don't have it. And I'd rather talk about it here and then have someone go, oh, got it. Okay, great. Liam's
Love
got
it.
the energetic lead. Like, it sounds small, it's huge. Rather than going like everyone just not speaking to it and people going, I don't know, something wrong with Jill. Is she mad at me? I don't know. Is she doesn't believe in the pitch? Like, people make up stuff to fill in the
Yes.
gaps, or if I say, hey, I'm off today, it gives someone else the courage to whisper to me, Jill, I'm off today. I'm having an issue with something at home. You don't need to know what it is, but I'm off. And I go, got it. I got you. It gives people space and grace.
Yes. Yes.
And those are powerful tools. And even talking about resilience being a muscle, gratitude and generosity are two ingredients of resilience. And so I practice that with my team. Why? Who are we grateful for? We used to have a way of talking. I'm grateful for Ron. Ron did this. It had an impact on me of that. And people would literally like say this. And we had this practice on Thursdays. It was so beautiful. And you go like, you can say it's all kind of mushy, but you go, no, actually noticing who's helping, noticing who's being kind to you, and actually being thanked for your effort builds people's resilience. And gratitude is an actually more, even a bigger version of gratitude is generosity, because it's active. Who can I help?
Yes. Yes.
It's actually literally one rung higher on Dr. David Hawkins' ladder of energy vibration. It's even bigger because like, oh, can I help you? Do you need help with that? And it's big or small, but it makes us feel good too. And so you go, well, if those are I want my team to be resilient, because we're going to win pitches, we're going to lose pitches, we're going to have hard meetings, we're going to have, so like, pandemic aside, business is tough, advertising is
Yes.
super
Yes.
tough. And so if I want them to be resilient, it's for me, it's not to say toughen up, it's for me to give them the ingredients and to hone their micro muscles of resilience. That's what we did on Thursdays. And it became a culture, because what I'm going to say to you on Thursday, you get to say thank you to whoever helped you this week. You know, because people love doing it, but they'd look all week for, who am I going to say? It means they start looking, because what you focus on
Yes.
expands. So now I've got them looking all week long for all the ways people help,
I
all the
love it.
ways people have lifted me. Thank you. I had a hole in my deck. I ran my strategy through you. You found a hole in my logic, and I added a chart. And you know what? The client loved it. And I would have had a hole except for you. You poked a hole. You patched it for me. And I'm so grateful. Like, it could be that. It doesn't have to be this like soft mushy. It can be just, thank you for that. By the way, the meeting went super well. And now you have this buoyant, resilient team. Well, isn't that what you want? So that's how the business grew, is people got to see people, and as people, and as helpers, and as talented, and as boys for each other.
Wow. Yeah. In a way, you're creating this like high performance collaborative team, right? Because as you were saying, I was feeling like going from competition to collaboration.
Totally. Totally.
And the team starts having each other's back. They start recognizing each other. All
Yep.
these things come into fruition. And I can see how this team becomes a team that truly cares about everybody on
Yeah.
it. And, I was thinking about my wife, because she goes through this gratitude exercise every morning, and she's a completely different person now than was before. And she's also a teacher. So she started implementing this mindful Mondays and things like that in her school. She notices with her students,
Yeah.
the days that she does a meditation, they're much calmer. They're much more cooperative.
Yep.
It's changed something in their brain for that day. And the odd day that she'll skip it, it's hard to control the classrooms. Like, there's something there in all of us that
Yep.
if we just take time to recognize the whole person.
Yes, absolutely. And there's neuroscience to that. Like, this isn't us guessing. There is neuroscience to that. And that's why if any of your listeners goes down the rabbit hole, from a neuroscience perspective, what are the ingredients for resilience? That's what we're talking about right now. And so, and we know, neuroplasticity, we didn't know about that, 10 years ago? We know our brain can change, and we know we can
Yes.
rewire. And so you go, yeah. So as leaders, we can put that in motion. We can create a culture where this is omnipresent. And so even though I put a pin in it on Thursday afternoons, it meant it was present all week long. I did it Thursdays instead of Mondays, because I go, everyone can start their week. By
Yes.
Thursday, we're getting tired, and you need a resilience boost, and something to take you into the weekend. And so that's
Love
why
that.
I did Thursdays, because Mondays you coming in knowing exactly what to do. You need a couple body checks, and then you go, okay, anyway, I just get to Thursday and I'll have you guys Thursday. Yeah.
I love it. So tell me how you transitioned from, hey, I want to do this Thursday exercise all the time. Like, how do you move from being the CEO of a very successful advertising agency to now you're a faculty in residence, and now you're a coach? Like, how is that transition, or how did you move through those changes?
So some people go like, how did you, and it sounds like a big leap. Like, I left this 30-year career, 16 years as a co-founder and CEO, and I became a coach, and now I'm faculty in residence at Modern Elder Academy, MEA Wisdom School. And I came back last week with Arthur Brooks, and people are like, how did that happen? And I go, it it was a Hemingway quote, gradually, then suddenly. And
Love
it
it.
looks like it was sudden, but for a number of years, so for 10 years, I had a coach helping me with, I go, something's changing in me. And I had my own transition. I had asked for a divorce. I was changing the structure of my partnership at work, reorganizing the entire team. I had a health issue that I had to take a break for right in the middle of all that. So, Bruce Feiler calls that a life quake when you got lots of
Mm.
shifts happening at the same time. So I had a coach to help me through that and to reorient me, going like, I'm out of alignment. This is not sustainable. But I started teaching my own team for a number of years on Thursdays. It's about that thing, alignment again. Notice what you're noticing. I notice I love Thursdays. I notice no matter what size of pitch or how much stress, I still love Thursdays the most. It never becomes, oh God, what did I promise? I have a class on Thursdays. It was like I never regretted. I never
Yes.
resented. It was like, it's okay. No matter how hard this week is, Thursday was my pleasure. And so I noticed what I was noticing. And then I noticed, wow, even when I don't know what I'm going to say, I always find something to say. I noticed they're writing letters that validate that I'm doing a good job. I noticed that I can put stuff out and I can bring other people in. Oh, I can actually workshop this. This isn't a lecture, it's a workshop. I notice what I notice. I noticed that Harvard picked up on this, Harvard Executive Education, and came to me and said, this blonde haired, blue eyed woman in Toronto in advertising, a very masculine industry of advertising, is doing some, on the surface, looks like woo woo, and her business is taking off. Can we write a case study about you? And so I'm like, that's validating too, right? Like, and I
Amazing.
got to watch Harvard professors teach a class about me. What was Jill thinking? What did Jill do next? I was like, yeah, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Because it was intuitive for me. But I could notice what I was noticing is I could notice all the validating posts. And so then I was like, then saying, what would this look like if I stopped? What would this look like? It wasn't a big mystery. It was, okay. I think I think I want to follow this. My heart is swinging all the way over here. And so I had, the strength of strength telling me I'm actually right on time. This is
Yes.
not weird. I'm right on time. And so I call these, with my coaching clients, I call these lily pads. Like, did I have it? I didn't jump to where I am now. It's 3 years later, but I lily padded away along the way. And so what do I mean by that? Well, then I made sure, I had a few years of doing these classes. Check. I'm doing it. I like it. I still like it. I could talk to people. Can you make a living at this? Well, coach is such a big word. There's so many different versions of coaches. Like, what's the right language for me? And then I got invited. So then I got invited. I went to MEA Wisdom School for myself to put my identity down. And the founder's like, Jill, do you want to work here? And I'm like, sure. I don't even know what that means, but yeah. But he noticed. He's like, I think you're supposed to be the teacher. I'm like, oh, I've been teaching these for a few years now on Thursdays. And so these lily pads of just say yes and see where it goes and take the next lily pad. So, I took my coaching accreditation and that I loved that. But then people wanted to work with me even before I was done. They're like, you do that for you. I want you now. And so I've got these different lily pads where I'm hopping. And I started at Modern Elder Academy. I said, okay, let me co-teach one of your existing courses. Then I was like, it's fulfilling. And Chip, the founder, goes like, if you could create your own course, what would it be? I'm like, well, I'm a branding person, right? So helping people find their next way is no different than saying Lay's potato chips, saying we've lost our way, we're losing ground. Can you reposition us? Or Virgin, or the NFL, or Lululemon. It's the same exercises. I do that through psychology tools. And so I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years. So now I'm going to sharpen my focus to people. So I just took that lily pad and went, yeah, I'll write you a course. And now it's the highest scoring course, the highest rated course
Wow.
at MEA. But I go, yeah, I put 30 years of psychology tools and rebranding tools into it. So, but then and all of a sudden now it looks like I'm on shore. I didn't go from one shore, CEO of advertising, to another shore called what I'm doing now. There were lily pads
Yeah.
along the way where I got to get feedback and I got to choose and make sure I'm still in alignment. And through the way, I have totally learned, what do I like? How much? When do I say no? What type of client do I love the most? Like I've learned I love coaching people who are really in this question that you're asking of transition. What am I supposed to do next? And it's kind of that 40 to 60-year-old, 65 is like, that's my sweet spot. Cause like you, I've been there. I know what it's like to have your identity all swung over into your career and then knowing somewhere in your bones it's moving, but you have no clue where to go next. But also putting down your career and your identity seems daunting. It
Yes.
seems scary. Who am I if I'm not that? Who am I?
Yeah. And so how do people do that, right? Because I remember you telling a story where, when you first described yourself, you said you're a marketer or you're a CPG
Mm,
person or you're in advertising. How do people let go of these labels? Or for me, an accountant, like how do people just kind of stop, take a beat, as you said, and let go
yeah.
of these societal identities that we often give ourselves?
I would say, I think you say this too, because you have a coach, is I didn't do this alone. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. My heart is so full. If I knew this was waiting for me, I would have jumped onto it sooner because it's that fulfilling. But I had someone help me. I had
Yes.
an amazing coach who I had for 9.5 years just until last year, and could hold up a mirror to me, could ask me the tough questions, can play back, "Did you hear what you just said?" I'm like, "No, what did I just say?" or like also like helping me own my stuff. Like, "This went wrong." And he's like, "What part of that is yours?" I'm like, "None of it." He was like, "Jill, something in there." I'm like, "Even if it's 5%, what part is yours?" And that's so helpful.
Mm,
Or looking when things kind of go wrong, he'll go, "When did you first know that?" I'm like, "Today. We just lost the client today." Whatever. And you're like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
yeah. I
6
love
months
that.
ago." Yeah. When did you first know? And we all have that spidey sense, but we learn to override, which is back to alignment and knowing.
Mm. Yeah, and I love the noticing part as well, right? To just
Mhm.
notice as you go through an average week, what are the things you do that light you up and what are the ones that maybe drain energy?
Yeah.
And leaning a little bit more into those is really helpful. So tell me about the bicep tricep analogy that you I love that analogy.
Yeah. So what I have found where people are out of alignment and how we get them back into the alignment is an analogy I love. I don't know where it came from. One of my conversations is I find that we bicep when we get confused and we don't want to let go of the path. It's like, what are you bicepping? What I mean by that for your listeners is is like the muscles that we used on that first curve, that building curve, the striving curve, the throw it on the pile curve. You go, okay, it's probably more ego. It's stuff, it's skills that we were trained to do, rewarded for. It's in our performance reviews. That's bicep-y. And I think everyone here knows how they bicep. Want it done? Sure. Put it on the pile. And I can go like in advertising, I'm super smart. I love research. I could put the bravado into a pitch. I know that's all my bicep. What I mean by tricep is is that part of you that you put down somewhere along the way for all the right reasons. Wasn't appropriate in that way, in that house, at that school, at that job. There's just parts of you that, yeah, that's not welcome here. That's not going to help me get ahead. I call that the tricep. And it's just like, oh, yeah, it's back there. And because we haven't flexed it for a long time, it might be a little flabby. It probably is flabby. And what I find that when people are in transition, it's the tricep that's going like, okay, is it my turn? Because I'm still here. I didn't totally go. I went back here, but I'm still around. Is it my turn yet? And I find that's what people are like, oh, it's my tricep that's talking. So for me, for an example for your listeners, for me, I bicepped. My dad was a CEO. My brothers were in business school. I'm in business school. And I put my psychology tricep away. And I remember like I was very sensitive when I was young. My father, grew up in a house of three brothers. And my father used to say, "Why are you so sensitive? Jill, you're so sensitive." And he's just, you know,
Hmm.
but I quickly learned as a kid, okay, don't be so sensitive. And I'm in business school. There's no room for sensitivity in there. It's about making big decisions and hard decisions and financial decisions and strategic orientation. And it was when I realized something was shifting in me, and my coach helped me see that what I had put down was my sensitivity. It was there, but I didn't bring it. And so when you hear the story of my huddle and is everybody okay? And let's talk about gratitude and build resilience muscles. What are you hearing? My sensitivity, my triceps coming back to life. My tricep joined my bicep in the way I showed up as a leader, and my business flourished.
Wow.
My people sensed it because people, you know this, and your listeners know this. We sense when someone's being authentic. And it wasn't I was not authentic, but I wasn't my full self. I didn't bring all my tools to my leadership role. And so then I brought my tricep, my wholehearted generosity, fairness, love, kindness to the office. My team sensed it, loved it. It softened me as a leader, and therefore it softened and expanded them as a high performance team, which means they could go out when you're tight. And I'm showing this for people listening. I'm my elbows are suddenly at my chest. I'm okay, let's win. But if I say, okay, and I got my arms out. Let's do this. What do we need? How do we feel? What's the bravest thing we could do? Notice that my energy is swirling far. My
Yes.
arms, way bigger. And so if I show up softer, I invite them to do too. Well, guess what? They're more creative. Jill, I got this harebrained idea. How about this? Or you can see energetically that you get totally different responses from people. And we're
Yes.
walking around like this all the time. We think we aren't, but we know when people are tight. We know, oh, what's wrong with you? Nothing. No, something's wrong. We know that. We know when someone's expansive. Oh, I love being in their presence. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Just like being around them. We know this. And so there's a field. And so when I went down the rabbit hole of that science, I went, oh my gosh. So that's what happens. And
Yes.
and that's what my team sensed is, well, I role model permission to do the same.
Yes. Yeah. And your whole body changed when you do that. Like I saw the energy just, I could feel what your team was feeling, right? And that
Mhm.
energy, whether we consciously or not, I think there's a massive ripple effect to the whole team, which is amazing.
We're usually not conscious of our energy. We're conscious of maybe our words and what I need to get across. But that's what I taught my team is we're all giving off a vibe.
Yes.
We're all giving off a vibe. Are you aware of your vibe and are you responsible for your vibe? Did you mean to put that in the room? Even if it's a Zoom room? Did you mean to come home to your family with that vibe? Like notice we're always sensing each other's. And so like once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unknow this. Because you'll notice if I say to everyone listening, like go around everyone you're interacted, just go high vibe, low vibe, tell me. And you're like, oh, I can tell. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you know which do you want to be around and which do you go, okay, that's about it. See ya. Like
Absolutely love it.
we know where to be.
Amazing. Well, I absolutely love what you're talking about is just first going to values, noticing, lily pad our way to our next
Mhm.
adventure, whatever you want to call it. Is
Yeah.
there anything else you think we should, you'd want to share with my listeners as we close off this conversation?
I think it's what I would say is like this, notice what you're noticing. I've just read the book, The Lion Tracker's
Yes.
Guide to Life by Boyd Vardy. It's a short book, a beautiful book. And I love it because it's a gorgeous metaphor for what we can do. Look for the tiniest clues.
Yes.
And once you start seeing them and just block out everything else, look for your own clues. And it's notice what you're noticing. I see a footprint. I see mud on a bush. I see water droplets, metaphorically. But you go,
Yes.
I lost flow in that meeting. I loved meeting this new person and they sparked something for me. Notice those things. And once you'll do your values, everyone in here will do their values. And then you notice going, oh my gosh, that's why I like that conversation. That's why I'm moving over here. And those little tiny steps, it's not a big switch. It looks like that on, if we look at people who made big leaps like you and I, it looks like we made big leaps. We didn't. We didn't. We noticed what we were noticing. We noticed the little footprints in the mud. We took really small steps to test our way through. Like, I didn't do anything big to know a coach was right. I just spoke differently to my team for a few years on Thursdays at 4:30 and pressure tested. Yeah, I think I'm good to go. Like, I think it didn't cost me a dime, and it had this wonderful ripple effect. So everyone has these little ways, and I say, what's the smallest step you can take to test your way forward?
I love that.
Yeah. Is it a
I love
free
that.
course? Is it a coffee meeting with someone? Is it a book that might unlock you? Is it a YouTube video that might bring you a little bit closer? Like, there's lots we can do to start going. And again, it's the tiniest of lily pads of just, what if I didn't quit and become a coach. I did it Thursdays at 4:30. I think that makes the point, I think.
Yes, yes. No, I love
Yeah.
it. Well, Jill, thank you. I mean, I really find your message is such a gift to everybody you come in contact with. And I will be one of your first readers when you write your book, not if you write your book.
Thank you.
Continue doing the amazing work you're doing, Jill. I'm just so glad to be
Thank you.
part of your circle.
Thank you. I would say to your listeners, like, everyone has another next great chapter. You really do. It's not for a few of us. It's for all of us. Have someone help you, whether that's through a book, through a podcast like yours, and realize that there is a path. There is a path, but you gotta let go of the fear and go, okay, I wonder where it is. And for your listeners, I'm opening up my hands and saying, okay, I'm ready. Show me things. And there is no sudden big step. So it doesn't have to be as daunting or mysterious as I think it's made out to be. We can all have it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jill.
You're very welcome.